What's up, guys? Trail here, better known as Budget Bill, and this is your third stimulus check update and stimulus package update for Monday, January the 18th. Good morning, everyone. How y'all doing today? It's Monday, it's a new week, and in 48 hours, a new person will be sworn into office as the President of the United States of America, where they now have over 25,000 military soldiers in Washington, D.C. to protect democracy after the riots broke out on Capitol Hill just a couple of weeks ago. Today, we want to talk about the idea of getting $2,000 monthly stimulus checks. Now, before you get too excited, this is just an initiative only. A few people on Capitol Hill are actually pushing for this to happen, and allegedly about 65% of people support this idea. Let's go ahead and talk about it today. We also want to talk about the rental assistance initiative that was included in Joe Biden's stimulus plan called the American Rescue Plan. He laid out everything in this plan earlier last week that also included additional $1,400 stimulus payments as the third stimulus check. We also have President Donald Trump planning to leave the White House this week. He still has one more job to complete as the president before he leaves office. So you want to watch this video until the end to check that out. Those are just some of the topics that we are going to cover today. But don't forget, if this is your first time to the channel, hey, welcome and glad to have you. We talk about finance, real estate, credit cards, and stimulus news. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to hit the like button for me if you enjoy this type of content. It doesn't cost you a single dime, but just a single press of the like button would really help out this channel. And it tells YouTube to share this video with others. So here we are, folks, at the crossroads where the President of the United States hands over the power to a future president for the next 4 years. Although we won't exactly have that transfer of power in person. President Trump is planning on leaving Washington on Wednesday morning ahead of the inauguration for Joe Biden. So as we begin a new journey with a new president, there are major issues that need to be handled in Washington, and they are both dealing with the pandemic. Number one issue is getting the virus under control in this country. And number two is getting the American people a third stimulus check. And not just any old stimulus check, but a bigger stimulus check that can be useful to last Americans more than 1 to 2 months. The first stimulus check was $1,200, which was very generous. Of course, everyone thought this pandemic would be over in just a few months and things would go back to normal. But here we are 11 months later and the virus is still here and very active. Then we just received a smaller stimulus check of $600 earlier this month, which most people say that it was just a slap in the face. $600 is not even enough money to pay 1 month's rent or mortgage for a majority of Americans, which I might add are facing evictions from their homes because of non-payment. And now we are almost to the point of receiving a third stimulus check in the amount of $1,400, according to Joe Biden's stimulus plan that he talked about last week, which is definitely generous, right? But some people think that Americans need to receive more than that, like perhaps more than a one-time stimulus payment. We have a few progressives calling for an increase in stimulus checks, such as $2,000 monthly stimulus checks. Yes, this is actually a thing. After Joe Biden announced his plans to increase the second round of direct payments to millions of Americans from $600 to an additional $1,400, the Massachusetts Senator Ed Markey is calling for more stimulus aid. Markey stated on Sunday with reporters that the $1,400 stimulus check is more like a down payment that will help families make rent, put food on the table, and pay utility bills. He said, "We must still pass my legislation with Senator Bernie Sanders to provide $2,000 monthly payments to working people through the duration of the pandemic." As you may recall, back in early May, Ed Markey, Bernie Sanders, and Kamala Harris introduced a bill titled the Monthly Economic Crisis Support Act to provide monthly checks to most Americans. Individuals with incomes up to $100,000 would receive $2,000 per month. Married couples who make less than $200,000 would receive a combined $4,000 per month, and families would receive an additional $2,000 per child up to 3 children. Well, that bill is being thrown back into the picture as Ed Markey is pushing Joe Biden and other Congress members to pass legislation that would approve of $2,000 monthly payments to the American people. And then, according to a recent poll, it shows that nearly 2/3 of Americans actually support $2,000 monthly stimulus checks. That's about 65% of Americans who took this survey. And they want these monthly payments to last the duration of the pandemic. Which I agree with it. It should last through the pandemic. We don't know if the pandemic is going to be over by October, August, or actually in 2022. So now Senator Markey is renewing his call for the monthly payments after the Democrats secured control of the upper and the lower chamber in Congress by winning both Georgia Senate elections. And we also have the Democratic Congresswoman, Ayanna Pressley of Massachusetts, has also come out in support of the monthly direct payments. She ended up sending out a tweet shortly after Joe Biden released his stimulus plan last week. She said, "The people deserve, demand, and require $2,000 recurring monthly survival checks." So there are a few people supporting this effort to get more money into the hands of the people who need it the most. But tell me, what do you guys think? Do you think it's possible to get reoccurring monthly checks? Maybe not $2,000 checks, but do you think a smaller amount is more feasible? Personally, I don't think government in this country would care as much to help its citizens out in this type of major way. I just don't see it, guys, especially considering it took Congress almost 9 months to allow us to get one payment of $600. And that felt like pulling teeth with these people. It's really tough to get any support to the people who need it the most when you have half of people in Congress only out to increase their personal wealth. Yes, they took the job to fight for the American people, but in this country has become so selfish, and now it's almost about the famous quote, "What's in it for me" mentality. It's sad, but it's the truth. So I don't think we will ever get reoccurring stimulus payments. The government doesn't care that much whether us regular folk have food on the table to eat or whether we are homeless. You know, some people just don't have the ability to have empathy or care about a total stranger who doesn't have food or shelter. And the people in Congress fit that description. If I offended any of you out there, it's just my personal belief and considering the history that we have dealt with in the past. The American people are struggling right now. Congress can fix it, but instead they figure out how they can get other legislation included in the bill that would help their overall pocketbooks. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. In other news, let's talk about the rental assistance program. So many people have not been able to pay their mortgages or rent during the pandemic because of a loss of job, hours cut at work, or because the company you work for is unable to work during the pandemic because of health reasons. Those have affected so many Americans today and causing families to be unsure where they will live if the eviction moratorium expires at the end of this month. Now, President-elect Biden has stated on the campaign trail that help is on the way. And he reiterated that same thing again after he won the presidential election. And now Joe Biden is calling for $30 billion more in rental assistance in his stimulus package. The American Rescue Plan is asking for additional relief aid to help with rental assistance and to extend the eviction ban. The ban on evictions and foreclosures have been extended through January the 31st, which is really not that far away. President Trump signed this last piece of legislation that extended the ban from December for just 1 month. And now that we have less than 12 days to get this ban extended once more, which is why it's important that Joe Biden is able to extend this ban shortly after he is sworn in. The American people voted for Biden as he showed more compassion for the people who are struggling right now. And they depend on Biden to bring more help. And they also want Biden to keep his word, which was help is on the way. Now, Biden sure has some big shoes to fill, but so far he is putting the right people in place to help him through his administration and bringing the help that is needed to the American people. His first priority is to fight the pandemic. His second priority is to provide additional relief aid to the people he needed the most. It's a tough job, but someone's got to do it, right? In addition, Biden is calling for the eviction moratorium to be extended through the end of September. The current eviction moratorium is scheduled to expire at the end of this month. So Biden has about 10 days to get this stimulus package passed into legislation. Otherwise, millions of Americans will be fearful of facing the eviction process. So I hope he can get this thing done and at least give Americans more time for this pandemic to fade away at some point. I know so many Americans like myself hoped and prayed for this virus to end in early 2021 so we can have a better year than we did last year. But so far in early January, it appears that this virus is getting stronger and stronger and stronger, especially now that there is a new variant to the virus that supposedly is spreading much faster than COVID-19. Luckily, the Pfizer vaccine is said to work against this variant as well. So that's some positive news that we love to hear right now, as most Americans that I talk to are opposed to taking the vaccine, as more Americans get tired of wearing a mask every day and as more Americans lose hope and rather not wait around to see the outcome. We must continue to fight this virus. We must continue to have hope that everything is going to be all right. If we could just get everyone to participate in this process, it will all get better soon, right? As we all have seen during those riots on Capitol Hill, we saw that none of these folks were wearing masks. None of them. But I know you guys out there, I know y'all are wearing y'all's mask, right? It's not about protecting yourself, it's about protecting others, which brings up a bigger question. How would you feel if you gave someone the virus when you didn't even know that you had it yourself? Would that make you feel some kind of way? Let me know your thoughts down below. I'm curious to see your reaction to that question. And real quick, President Trump is leaving office this week for the last time in Air Force One. Typically, most people don't do much work on their last days on the job, right? But President Trump still has one more task he is planning on doing 24 hours before leaving office. President Trump is planning on issuing around 100 pardons and commutations on his final day in office. Now, we don't know who this list of people are, but it is said to be a handful of white-collar criminals, high-profile rappers, and many, many others. So that's all we know so far. I'm sure that list will be known sometime today before it actually happens tomorrow. And with all of that being said, this has been your third Stimulus Check Update news for today. If you enjoyed this video and laughed at my corny jokes, please give this video a like. It really helps out the channel and it tells YouTube to share this video with others. Also, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell to be notified of each new video. Again, hey, I appreciate you guys stopping by and watching, and I hope to see you on the next video. Peace.